Hi Roja. Illa Sukumano.
Yes, Sukamana.
So very happy, Roja. Really is. She's very. Why? Because I had an experience of attending 3 times interviews, but coming near and going. So it's a great achievement. I am from my family, from my small daughter. Everyone, we congratulate you, and we wish for all the best for your future as well.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
So a few questions for the aspirants who are going to write the next year. So your experience, like how to prepare for prelims and how you prepared prelims and how you cleared your prelims. Why? Because prelims is a tougher task compared to mains.
Yes, sir. So for beginners, I would like to suggest on studying the basic materials properly. Like in the first year of preparation, we'll be having a prelims come mains integrated preparation. So during that time, all the basic books, limit the number of sources. For one subject, one book is enough, but that should be a standard source. So limit first, make a list of books and make sure that we learn the subject, not read the book. There is the difference. People mostly just read the book multiple times, but they don't do that active learning process. So then after 1 year, when the prelims is clear, they have issues with recollection. So this is that throughout that 1 year, it is mostly on how we plan to study and understand the subjects, because all the subjects will be new. So on that a little bit more detail, what I did was that I did a macro planning in the first year. So I divided 1 year into 2 months each, and 2 months I decided first to conquer the like the big subjects are there, economy, polity. So in 2 months I'll cover 2 big subjects. And to make the preparation little bit interesting, every day I would read 2 subjects from GS. So this is apart from the anthro preparation, my optional preparation. This is how I studied the GS subjects throughout the year. Then after that, before prelims, I kept aside 3 months.
Okay.
So there is some difference, because in my both attempts, prelims got again postponed. But I am just sticking to the plan. But I was also able to study in a different way, so I'll come to that. But the plan is keep 3 months. In the first month, there will be some gap and some issues in our preparation during the 1 year. We might skip some chapters, skip some books. So in that 1 year, I was covering the gaps. Then the last 2 months before prelims. In that, suppose the exam is on May 31st. Then in the month of April, I make sure that I cover all the basic materials thoroughly. That is one proper revision of the entire basic materials. Along with it, I was also doing pending sectional test and 1 or 2 full test. And so the sectionals, but I had already started taking from November onwards, because most institutions start in that month of November in Trivandrum. So that time itself, I started doing sectional tests. So by the end of April, I will cover 2 sets of institutes sectional test fully. And then I have also revised the entire subject once. This was the plan. And in the month of May, the plan is to revise one more round by say 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, I would cover again the basic materials along with the current affairs, the second round of revision. And during this month, I will start taking full tests. So my target was to take around 15 full tests. Again, when it comes to full test, I was not relying on one institute.
Okay.
I chose around 5 to 6 institutes, and I did 2 mocks from each of the institute. Why I did this was, from my understanding, this exam is more about having the skill to eliminate and identify the right answer. So when we are dealing different kinds of institutes, way of making questions, we understand how people are making these options difficult, how they are making, like we'll get their thinking perspective also. So with that, we can eliminate easily. Like some answers, when we read, we understand, okay, this option will never be correct. This is not even with the help of our knowledge. This is just because we are seeing different types of people putting questions. So that's why I follow different institutes. Different ones it should be done.
Yes.
And I also revise the factual content in all these mocks. And also another very important thing is, when it comes to this mocks, is mock analysis. Just because we just solved the mocks, getting low mark, getting disappointed, then again doing mocks, that is not going to work. So for mock analysis, I created a strategy. That was I divided the mistakes into 4 groups. That is silly mistake, factual mistake, conceptual mistake, and revision mistake. Silly mistake is I am someone who don't read the question properly. At least 5-6 questions I will make silly mistakes. So I used to be conscious about that. So I can reduce. That is silly mistake. Reading incorrect as correct or marking A instead of B. Those kind of mistakes. Then when it comes to factual mistakes, those are nowadays these institutions make the paper very hard. They will ask abnormally hard factual questions that we have not even heard of. But still there will be some scope of eliminations. Maybe we know one statement, one we don't know. Those questions also I used to attempt and see how much I can make correct. So those are the factual ones. And if I make mistakes in the factual section, I never really cared. I just use that factual information as a knowledge gaining process. So I was not bothered by the factual mistakes. The critical mistake I should avoid is revision mistake and conceptual mistake. And the difference between these two. So when I'm explaining this, most people don't understand what I mean by revision mistake, what I mean by conceptual mistake. So revision mistake is any information that I knew, maybe from the mocks or from the basic materials, but I was recalling it wrongly or I could not recollect it correctly, which means there is some issue with my learning process. So I have to go back and read the book, whether it's Lakshmikant or Spectrum. So this is my revision mistakes. Then when it comes to conceptual mistakes, it is not because we don't recollect or anything. It is because I don't understand the topic. Suppose I make an error in inflation about demand supply, some statement, or about say balance of payments. That's because I did not understand the concept of balance of payment. Otherwise, there is no scope of making a mistake in such kind of questions. So if it's a conceptual mistake, I made it a point to either watch some videos or to call the respective subject expert and understand what their topic is. So this revision and conceptual is what I felt is a deal breaker, because in UPSC also around 20 to 30 questions will be there that all of us will know. It will come from the basic materials. But if we make a mistake there, it is very hard to recover from that. So this is what I did with the mock analysis, and this used to take a lot of time, at least 2 to 3 hours I would spend on the answer key and this analysis part, apart from solving the paper. But this was very effective. Towards the end of the exam, my mistakes will be around in the range of 15 to 25. But my marks would be in the range of 100 to 120 because the accuracy is more. And again, I calculated the accuracy in the full test. So I tried to maintain an accuracy above 65%. Like that. So this is another strategy I followed. And when it comes to the last few days, I did one last round of revision in the last week. So every day I will keep time for one subjects, polity, economy, 1 day each. That is my last round. And just the day before exam, I try to revise all the subjects. But revise means I just go through the notes just because already 3 rounds of revision is over. So it's totally doable if we have our own notes to just go through the material on the last day of exam. This has 2 purposes. One, we will not be tensed. We will not stress too much because we have so much to cover. Yes. We'll be focusing on the studying part. So, and other part is that I have a little bit, I struggle a lot with recollection. So I need that confidence to read the material just before the exam also I have to read. So this is why I adopted this strategy and it was effective for me. So sir, this is what it comes to the prelims preparation. Yes. And also sir, one thing I left out, I guess, it is when it comes to the 50-50 questions, okay, I made sure I attempt them. No matter if I know or not, 50-50 questions, I attempt. My logic was, suppose there are 10 questions and I attempted them 50-50. So there's 50% chance of getting them right. Best case, I could get, say, 50 questions right, 50 questions wrong. I mean, 5 questions right, 5 questions wrong. But worst case also, I might get 7 questions wrong, 3 questions right. But even then, I am gaining around 1 or in between 1 or 2 marks. Yes. So I made sure I attempt all 50 questions. Yes.
Very nice. Then how about your preparation of essay, ethics and GS 1, 2, 3?
Yes, sir. So For essay, I was very concerned that because it's a subjective paper and it is like a deal breaker for most people in mains.
Yes.
So what I did was I decided to write so many essays. The quantity, like I think I wrote around at least 30 to 40 essays. And also in the essay paper, there will be other sections, like other questions that we don't attempt. I also brainstormed those questions with a friend. So this was something I did, but I did it over the year, over one whole year. This much I covered. And for essay, I'm a content writer. I was working as a freelance content writer part time, so that was helping me immensely. Like what we need is structure, we need flow, and we need to have a clarity in the essay, regardless of our content. Even if we lack in the content section, if we are having the clarity and the reader is finding it interesting, we'll get mark. So because of this, I decided to do content writing part time. So every day, 3-4 hours, I'll be working, and I write around 4,000 words a day. So that was a big blessing for me because my writing style slowly improved.
Yes.
But this is doable for everybody if they put the effort. And to tell it in a more technical way, when it comes to flow and how to bring the structure, first it is essential that we brainstorm the essay topic.
Yes.
And try to bring a wide range of dimensions into the essay. And inside, when it comes to writing this, it's always better to start with a story, and the ending of the story can be given as the conclusion.
Yes.
So for this, what I did was I watched Mahabharata series and all those things, and I used to take these stories and gain some insight from it, and I would use this in the essay. So, and why Mahabharata? Because for philosophical essays, it gives a good start. Why? Because most of the philosophical questions, there will be some story related to it in the Mahabharata.
Yes.
Because I think ethics is derived from Mahabharata in Indian context. So we can always rely on Mahabharata. So that gives the starting trouble is gone, because for philosophy, I would start with Mahabharata. And when it comes to GS essays, I would either write a story, like it's similar to Mahabharata, some other story, popular stories, or I would just start with a fact, like we give an introduction. So that is what I followed for GS introduction. And then again, when it comes to the flow, the last sentence will be an introduction to the next paragraph's first sentence. So, like, let us take a look at how this can be done, or something like that will be the last sentence. Then when we are going to the next paragraph, so the reader will get that flow, that we are slowly transitioning from one dimension to another. And I used to initially write subheadings in the essays, but later I stopped using that also.
Okay.
So I used to focus more on the writing technique rather than on the content. That is what I did for essay in short. So I believe that when we focus on the writing technique, no matter what we write, it will have a competitive advantage.
Yes. Yes.
And it should be answered in a holistic manner. Again, I would try to bring in those keywords in the syllabus, even in the ethics part, in the case study part, those integrity, those kind of keywords. As a civil servant, I should be having these qualities. So I will be doing like this, like that. I used to write. And the other words also, conflict of interest, those kind of words I used to bring in the case studies. And in the 10 markers, initially I struggled a lot. My 10 markers were not at all good. So, and what I did was, again, I followed the essays writing technique. So the answer should address the question. That is the first demand. The answer should look like the question is being answered more than the content. Then I started bringing some examples. Examples also, again, Mahabharata and other any kind of ethical example we can quote. But I did not make any list of examples or anything. But during my preparation, what I did was, when I see something, when I hear something popular, it could be a popular story or it could be a newspaper article. I used to think about how it can be used in an ethics answer, like where it can be used. So this kind of thinking I developed. So mostly when I get the question, those kind of examples used to come to my mind. Those some famous personalities, something they did, those kind of examples used to come to my mind. And I did not write any personal examples like what I did in an imaginary situation or such examples. I relied on famous personalities and how they dealt with it, or fictitious examples like again Mahabharata. I think I wrote one or two examples from Mahabharata also. If we write it in a balanced manner, I think we can quote these examples from this epics like Mahabharata also. We can do it. So then slowly my 10 markers also started increasing, and I have 119 marks for ethics. So I think it's a really good score.
Yes.
So ultimately it paid off. But and again for ethics 10 markers during pre-mains gap, every day I started writing 5 10 markers because I was struggling in that area. And I think 10 markers is the deal breaker again. Like case study, everybody will get similar marks. But we have to focus on the 10 markers also. And paper completion is also very important. So the 5 questions I wrote every day, I would write within the time limit only. So, and then sir, so ethics and essay, and you asked one more subject?
GS 1 to 3.
Okay, sir. So, sir, when it comes to GS 1, 2, 3, the strategy was somewhat similar. Like I took the syllabus. For each word, I made one or two page note, very crisp note, so that I can revise during that just before the exam, and in between two exams we get very limited time. So I made sure my note is very crisp, but it covered the entire syllabus. And sir, another thing I did was during the 1 year preparation, I used to listen to daily news analysis. We can take any random institutes who do daily news analysis. So apart from newspaper, I used to listen, and I used to make mains current affairs notes.
Okay.
So that will be some every, like if there is a news on child labor, then the institute will give information about child labor for or child as a vulnerable section. They will identify and give notes for social justice. So I made note of that. Then we might get some statistics or some interesting points from that discussion. And that will be in the current affairs note. Then during my pre-mains period, I integrated those current affairs notes into my mains. I had a basic note for social justice. So I used to do the value addition from the current affairs. So this way I could cover the one whole year's current affairs that I collected over the time period during my prelims mains gap. Yes. And again for value addition for the GS, initially while reading newspaper, I never understood how to make notes. I used to make useless notes, and then I understood it's not even necessary. From every article, I will write 5 points like that. But later I started finding if I see something very, very different or very unique, I would take it. Like there was an article by Ashish Nandi on how India is not a salad bowl or there's a common word no, other than salad bowl, melting pot, but it is a thali meal.
Thali meal.
So we can quote it in social, like society paper and anthropology paper. And it has multiple uses. So I immediately noted this down. And again, there was this case study by Ashish Nandi itself about Cochin, where 15 communities are living together, and there are no communal riots as such. But the reason is not communal harmony; they keep a distance from each other. So there is this untold agreement that we won't interfere, so that we won't create trouble. So that is also very odd, like. So this we can quote as a case study in anthropology and society. So this kind of interesting things I used to make note of. And this I used also. And I try to bring those content from editorial for which we have multiple uses. For different papers we can use. That is what I focused on. Then apart from that paper, again, sir, when it comes to answer writing, for GS 1, 2, 3, it's the same. Answer writing is the most crucial part. We have to make answers. I used to say we have to make answers like we are stitching a dress. It should perfectly fit the body. So it should perfectly fit the question. So that I was working more on how I can perfectly fit an answer for the question. Because content will be more or less same for all those who are appearing for mains. If they have proper notes, that will be there. But if we make the examiner's duty easy by making an answer that is so good to read, having flow, content, all those elements we have for essay, then we might get 1 or 2 marks extra. Again, sir, when it comes to the whole mains paper, I think this handwriting is also very crucial.
So, Roja, for anyone, when they want to choose an optional, how they have to choose their option? What should be the criteria?
So, sir, for me, I created some criteria myself and I decided on that. So, one is, of course, the syllabus and interest. We have to go through all the optionals that we have an interest in and see the syllabus, how much is there to study, and whether we would be able to read these books for a long period of time.
Yes.
That is one thing. But apart from this, we should look at whether there is success rate in this optional and whether materials are available for this optional. And again, guidance is equally important. We need someone to guide us, otherwise it will be like searching in the dark.
Yes.
And we might take a long time to master the optional, especially if we don't have a background in it.
Yes.
And also we also need a good peer group so that we can do answer writing or we can compare ourselves. Like that we can go on for a long period of time. So these were some of the criteria I used for selecting anthropology. Because by the time I was writing, most of the AIR ones or top 20 will have so many anthropology options. So success rate was very high. And I am from a biology background. So till 12th, I studied biology and I had around 98 marks. So I was strong in biology. So 50% of anthropology has the physical anthro part. So I decided to choose anthro. Then again, when it comes to syllabus, I was very curious and very excited to learn. I like that social anthropology part and the thinkers part. I was very curious.
Yes.
Then again, when it comes to material, we have so many materials available in the market, topper notes to standard books, everything is sorted out. Again, the peer group is strong. But when it comes to guidance, again, in Trivandrum, I struggled a bit because I could not find any. I think Sir started, but I was not aware of it. But like that was the first batch or something. I was not aware of it. So that's why I could not join an institute for studying. But I struggled a lot because of that. Because I would take months to understand one topic, but a sir would have easily covered it in 2 hours. I would not have got the gist of it is that easily. So I think when it comes to optional, it is good to have a mentor. It's good to have a teacher.
Yes, true.
Yes, sir. So I think I took around 6 to 7 months to do the initial reading itself. But as sir will be able to finish the entire subject in 3 months,
Yes.
then we can study, we can value add, we can revise.
Yes.
That advantage will always be there.
Then how about your interview preparation?
Sir, again, when it comes to interview was one part where I was not at all prepared for. But for mains and prelims, I made a plan. I knew what should be done, but I had to do it.
Yes.
But for interview, I was totally clueless. But again, along with everybody does the common things, the DAP preparation, every word they will do. And for anthropology, I used to attend your classes, sir. You dedicatedly gave 1 hour. And you covered it also. And I believe if your classes were not there, I would have just skipped anthropology and went for the interview because you had covered it beautifully. And I did not miss. I think I missed only 1 or 2 sessions towards the end. Other than that, I attended all the sessions. So, but it was very, very helpful. For anthropology, you gave me that confidence. Okay, anthropology is done. If they ask something, I'll be able to answer. Because you had that interactive kind of session. But other than that, the DAF, all the keywords, I made notes. Again, I kept one book. For every keyword, there will be 1 page full of possible questions and what are the important things that I should bring in the answer. And apart from this content part, I also focused on the pace of delivery because I speak very fast. But for interview, I tried to slow down. And also, again, our facial expression is very important. So I would sit in front of the mirror and try to answer. Always try to keep a smile. So then those kind of aspects also I try to pay attention because the clarity also is important. Otherwise, if they don't understand what we are seeing, then it's not. So those were the things I focused on, sir, when it comes to interview. Again, the mocks, we have to give online and offline mocks and get feedback and try to improve. It's the regular things.
Yes. So finally, Roja, for the aspirants who are going to try or they are going to give their attempt after 2 days, June 5th, and what should be the attitude of an aspirant? What should be the traits which should be imbibed into an individual?
Sir, those immediately going to give prelims in 2 days.
Yes. As well as for long term.
Sir, for those attempting prelims on this Sunday, I want to tell them this is the time where most people give up.
Yeah.
They think they are not prepared. All the self-doubts will creep in. I am someone exactly like that. I have so much anxiety. What I have to say is that until June 5th, 4:30 p.m., you have every chance of winning this exam. So don't give up the fight. Just fight it. It's an exam where you have to fight it. You just have to clear prelims. Then you can write mains, you can go to interview and you can get a rank. So see prelims as that, like it's like a gate. You just want to open the gate and then you are on the other side. So I think we should have that fighting mentality and we should have control of our mental stress. Like all those questions, now is not the time to question yourself. Now is the time to, just fight and just win. So I used to read Gita and this is what happened to Arjuna. When we are close to prelims, we are like Arjuna.
Yes.
And everybody needs a Krishna. So be your own Krishna and fight it. Fight those mental anxieties and all the stress and give your best. And after June 5th, 4:30, if there are some issues, then you can lament or you can cherish, you can celebrate and then prepare for mains. So that is for the upcoming prelims. I want to tell, don't waste time watching all the topo videos, but just fight it and clear prelims immediately. That is what I have to say. And for the long-term aspirants, yes, there are certain qualities that help me. One was having patience with myself. Like we have to first be we have to trust ourselves and we shouldn't be too critical. Like if we get low marks, we're like, why you are like this, everybody is getting good marks. We shouldn't be like that. We have to be like, we should be the one having faith on ourselves. Then second of all, sir, we should have that perseverance, so that this is a long process. We have to tell ourselves we don't get that instant gratification is not going to work. We might take 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 attempts, but ultimately when we clear, it is going to be for the it changes our life. So that perseverance should be there. And again, everybody has self doubts, and especially if somebody is like me who comes from a normal background with just a professional degree and a normal background, I studied in my hometown. Those people will have the anxiety and stress whether they are capable of doing it. But it is okay, I would say, to allot some time to have those things so that it doesn't affect the studies. I won't tell you have to be positive all the time like that. If you feel you are anxious, dedicate 1 hour once a week to be anxious. Okay, so we have to manage the time properly. And I think again, when it comes to, I'm telling, be patient with yourself. Don't be very, very lazy, like, okay, I didn't study today, I'll study tomorrow, then it will go on like that for 1 month. Again, there will be personal issues and other things. But you should remember, personal, everything is temporary. But if you waste 1 hour, 1 month or 2 months over your personal issues, you are going behind, way behind from where you started. So I would say manage them, because even in the service, we'll have to manage everything, personal and professional life. So it's better we practice it as an aspirant itself, because I have heard so many people telling personal issues derailing preparation.
Yes.
But I would say manage it, still keep fighting. So that is another thing I wanted to say, sir. So yes, sir, these are some of the traits that most people miss out. That's why I focused on them.
So last 108 rank is a very good rank. It's a really awesome rank. It is. When you heard this, what is your expression and what is the feeling of you as well as your parents?
Sir, I was actually having lunch and I used to prepare with my friend. So I called her to ask if the PDF is out to please check, and then she told my rank. And I couldn't believe it. I thought first she was joking or something. But then I was like, I didn't know whether I should cry or whether I should just, like, it didn't sink in. And my parents were really excited. They were like so happy, like that. They gave the expression that a normal people would give, like, but I was like totally shocked. I didn't know whether to cry or is it real. And 108 was very surprising.
Yes.
I was like, towards the end, I was like, because it's my second attempt, I was like, I just wanted at least the last rank itself or the reserve list itself is enough. But I was like, I needed it for my confidence so that I can again prepare. I was in that mindset, and 108 was like, I don't have to write prelims again. That was a relief. So, so that was a relief. It was actually a relief. It was a moment of, I don't know. I felt satisfied finally. Like I was never satisfied. For last 3 years, nothing satisfied me. And suddenly I felt satisfied. I felt that completion. Those were the emotions.
Sure. Roja is very, I also felt very happy because as you told, 108 is a very good rank. And your
Yes.
down to earth attitude also, I think it contributed for your success, for your preparation.
Thank
And
you.
namaskar from my side to your parents, and congratulations to them also for the proud parents.
Yes, sir. Sure, sir. I'll convey that, sir.
Thank you and have a good day.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.